Good afternoon. Today we are going to talk about pests and disease control, more looking at how we can use predators and also how we can control the pests in the garden and weeds in the garden. So I'll share with you the PowerPoint presentation on what we are going to do. But the most important thing that we are talking about here is that you need to understand what is pests and how pests are caused to come into our farming systems. For example, here, the photo you see in the screen, it's a photo of how most farmers do farming. See, more in the monoculture way of doing, and one type of crop is grown in a given piece of land. Hence, at the end of the day, we found challenges of pests. Like as you see, these cabbages are attacked by pests, and basically what is happening is there is no proper control, there is no proper management of pests, and this the insects that eat the vegetables, that eat the crops that we grow. And these insects, they can be controlled in different forms. So pests, as you see, are insects and animals that affect the crop production systems. And we found them in our fields, and they are those animals and insects that are at a wrong place at the right time. Like you see pests coming on your well-growing spinach or cabbages, and they are coming at the right, at a wrong time, but at the right place. Pests are caused mainly by the farming of monoculture, and the pests are caused by inadequate plant nutrients and water. So in most cases, we talk about the feeding of the soil. When you feed soil, you have the crops that are healthy and that are resistant to pests and diseases. Um, Also, we have the excessive feeding and watering. So if you give also too much water or too much nutrients, sometimes the pest can also attack because the plant will be sort of weak or overdrawn, over uh, consume of the nutrients that are in place, that are provided. Lack of windbreaks, and in our farms, if there is a lot of lack of windbreaks, the problem is the pests can come because they can come with the wind, they can come with the easily through the farm, because there is no screen or there's no buffer that stops the insects to come through. Lack of hygiene in the farm, like leaving water stagnating, can cause pest problems in the farming areas. And also, wrong season of planting crops. When crops are planted in a wrong season, they are easily prone to pests. And basically, yeah, the idea here is more for pests. When they come in the field, they are coming because they are attracted by certain things. They are attracted. They are attracted by certain things, and the destruction of predators. When you kill predators in the field, most of the time is they are allowing other pests to come in the system. Predators are those insects or other animals that eat uh, other that eat insects. There are insects that eat other insects. So they are good in our farming. I'll show you some examples. And also floods and fires, they can cause more pests to come in the system, and diseases as well to come in the system. And if you leave water, for example, stagnating, it can cause the diseases like fungus and viruses into the crops. So it is important to make sure that we manage the environment where you are. So insects are divided into two. That is the beneficial insects and insects that are pests. The insects that are pests, they are those that are herbivorous. They eat vegetables, they eat greens. Like the picture below here, it is a sign that the insects are eating the vegetables and they suck this vegetable or they chew. They weaken the plants and reduce the yields of the crops. Um, then when the plant is weak, then diseases easily come through. And also diseases, they are now transmitted because the plant is weak. So there are beneficial insects like the picture on top there. It's a leadbait that actually eats the another bug that looks like a leadbait. These insects that are beneficial, most of them they are carnivores. The carnivores are those that eat other insects and they feed on other insects. Some are predators that direct feed on pests. They go for specific pests and eat that pest as food. And some of them they are parasites. What they do, they make eggs on an insect so that the insect cannot multiply. The insect is controlled, or the pest is controlled by the larva, by the larva that are laid on that particular insect. So it is important to know that insects or pests, they have a life cycle. And this life cycle includes the egg, the larva, the pupa, and adults. But the most important area that we need to manage most is the larva. The larva is when you see the worm, uh, like this worm, cutworm, this one on my right here, this one, it's a cutworm. It's a larva stage. And this is the most terrible time stage where it chew our vegetables. So we need to manage this one most than the adult. The adult usually they are butterflies and they fly. And when they pupate, they go into the ground and pupate and lay eggs and hatch and then they fly to become adults. The eggs, they can also be identified or defined in the uh, in the vegetables or on the leaf. When you see some like some small eggs or white small eggs on the leaves, those can be destroyed. We'll show you, we'll share how we can destroy some of them. So the larva is the most dangerous position of the insect pests. The insect pests, we can control them in different forms. We can control them as direct methods or indirect methods. The direct method is when you are using botanical chemicals. That is the preparation of chilies, the preparation of soap, the preparation of tobacco, and you spray in the garden or on pest to control them. That's the direct method. Biological, BT products, it's all about using the biological products like Bordeaux mix, like copper, like the mixture of different species of plants that can repel and kill some of the insects. Innate and dust, the wood ash. For example, when you see pests in the field like aphids, you can take wood ash and spray on top on the insect, and the insect at the end of the day it is uh, killed or repelled from the system. Physical or barriers, the physical way of controlling pests can be putting barriers in the field, like if you have spinach growing, you can put sticks around it. And then when you put small sticks around it to support it, a cutworm, when it comes and like it forms a ring on the spinach. And when it forms that ring and it cannot make the ring, then it's deterred, it's discouraged to be there. then it run away. So also attractants. You can paint, you can put yellow boards in the garden. The yellow boards attract insects, and then on the yellow board you put a sticker, a yellow board, and put a sticker on the yellow board. Then the insects will be attracted by the yellow board, and then there is a sticker. They go there and stick, so they cannot go away, and they die on the sticking thing. And also marigold and other plants. Marigold is a plant that has flowers and it repels. When you have it in the garden, it sort of attracts insects, but when insects come to the marigold, they tend not to like the smell of this marigold. So it is a plant that we can end up crop with other crops, our main crop in the garden. Indirect methods, it's where you pick and destroy a pest. You see a pest in the garden like a cutworm, you pick it and you destroy, or you feed chickens. You can also introduce ducks in the garden or chickens for a period of time, and then they go scratch and they go for all these insects, and then they eat as food, but it's a way of controlling pests. You can also vary planting times where you have your crops like maize or like beans, you stagger the planting. You do not plant all crops of the same variety at the same time. For example, now it's summertime, you can have maize planted this week and you stagger for 2 weeks, you plant another maize, you stagger again for another maize. So in the same field, you do not have the same crop of at the same age. It is the crops, same crop, but different age. Maybe they differ with weeks or 1 week or 2 weeks. That helps in controlling pests because certain pests, they hatch in different times or specific time. And when they hatch and the crop is not there, or there are few crops that are there, then they attack that crop. The one that is younger may not be attacked, may survive. This is also good in drought-prone times, where you do not plant crops at one go. Remember, we are in a challenge of climate change. And in climate change, we need to adapt the system or the climate change situation, where the adaptation process is when rains come late, and do not plant all crops, all the seeds in the same time. You need to wait to plant now and plant again the other one after 2 weeks, and plant another one after three weeks or 4 weeks. That will help you to produce the crop you require in different times. If one crop is attacked by the drought, then the other crop can survive. The same with pests. If a crop is attacked by pests, the other one that you stagger can maybe survive. You need to alter habitats. For example, when you have pests, you want to encourage predators in the field. You need to always put some piled heaps in the garden of stones, piled stones in the garden to attract lizards, to stay in there. And when you attract lizards to stay in the stones, when you are at home doing your accounts business or your work, then the lizards, they will do the work for you. They will go out and then eat some insects that are attacking the pests, that are attacking the crops. So at the same time, it is important to build fence and screens, the live fence, where you plant trees. And these trees, they will help in attracting predators like praying mantis, chameleons to come in the garden. And these, they will eventually control pests they will eventually control pests in the garden. They eat pests as food. So it is important just to build the habitats for other predators to come in the field. Remove or reduce overwintering habitat. So, for example, when you have too much of the stovers, maize stovers or crop stovers, you need to remove all crops that are of diseases. You need to remove them in the field so that they cannot habitat or keep insects that are pests in the garden. For example, mellow bugs. You can physically control it, but the most important thing is to feed your soil, keep your soil health, like what we talked in the previous episodes. So the soils, when they are health, then they tend to destroy or to create health plants. Then the health plants can be resistant to pests. As I say earlier, destroy eggs or backs of the leaves. Destroy the eggs that are on the back of the leaf. Usually, this mellowbug lay eggs on the back of a leaf, and then when you see the eggs there, you have to destroy them, either physically destroying them or you prepare a tea or for destroying them. A tea that you can prepare if you have tobacco leaves, you can crush it and boil it and cool the water and spray on the leaves. Or you can use Tephrosia grandiflora. It's a plant that can grow, and it's a plant that grows wild in the forest. It has purple leaves, and you take that one, you use it, crush it, and you spray on the eggs. You can also use plants like garden rue. Garden rue, it's a plant that grows in gardens, or it's used as a flower plant. Smells very bad, and then terrible smell. It produces terrible smell. You take that plant, crush it, and soak it in water for about 1 day. Then after that, you use it to spray on the melon bugs. Alter habitat, as I mentioned earlier, that you alter habitats, and they like most, like the melon bug, they like moist areas. So make sure that you have deep mulch in your garden. And when you have deep mulch, it helps to reduce the moisture in the garden so that these guys, they cannot stay there. And all the waste from the garden can be removed. And also you need to check under boards or under if you put carpets in the garden or under newspaper or card boxes, you need to lift them and add new card boxes, and then that can kill the melon bug. As I said, dense mulching, and sometimes you can use also black plastic and have compost in the garden. The black plastic, it helps to kill it. You cover the ground, a specific area where you think the melon bug is there, and then you cover with the plastic, the plastic, and the plastic can cook it or burn it, because plastic, when we have enough sunlight, it hits the soil and it can kill the melon bug. Crop rotation is very important when you have the pest in the garden. Crop rotation is a means of do not plant crops, the same type of crop at the same place. You need to shift and rotate. And you can rotate using the heavy feeder, light feeder, heavy giver, and those type of system that can help in repelling or in doing the crop rotation. And then crop rotation can control a number of diseases, especially nematodes that attack the roots of certain crops. You can do trellising, and trellising plants are the plants that help in, when you do trellising, plants that creeps on other plants, and that also helps in repelling some pests in the garden. And the plants resistant varieties, that is plants that smell strongly, like the Lipia javanicus, the Kenza bush, the plants like lemon verbena, the mint, they help in repelling some pests in the field. You can use some nets like mosquito nets to cover certain crop to prevent the insects not to attack the crops. Preventing methods, grow resistant varieties of crops, because you find out some of the crops that we are using, they are not all that resistant to crops. And we need to look at plants that grows in a specific area and that are resistant to crops, especially the pure breed crops that are originally from our continent or our region. Growing in the proper season is, as I mentioned earlier, improving soil health is very important. Rotation is very important. Encourage natural biological agents for controlling diseases and insects and weeds. Those are, again, the agents are wasps that can come in the field and other predators or the spiders that can come in the field to control and flying insects like the fruit flies. As I mentioned again, the physical barriers and modify habitats, use pheromone and colors to monitor trap insects. See some of the things that I was trying to explain, like on the right here, you have marigold and cabbage, and you see this cabbage is so happy, and it's because it's protected by marigold. Marigold is the one with the orange flower, or closer to yellow flower, and it smells and no insect is attacking. On the left here, you see onion mixed with the spinach. The onion is a strong smelling plant. It repels some insects that can attack the spinach. So this is about understanding the species that you can grow together. Yeah, some people, they use chemicals, and chemicals, when you use them, they are killers, and they don't kill only one pest that you want to control, but they kill everything. They wipe everything. They are poison against our living organisms, and they pollute rivers or water. And also sometimes the quantity to use, some people, they use unnecessary level of using chemicals. So in our system here, we say no to chemical, no to GMO, no to sprays. That's what we try to do, because they pollute the environment and they affect us at a long run. Of course, they are also expensive, and they take long time to break down in the system. So why do we use them when we have alternatives of using pesticides or using natural sprays in the system? We need to understand where do we get water, and the water is, if it's not treated, then sometimes it can bring diseases. Like untreated gray water, black water can cause diseases on plants. So you need to treat it first. Lack of mulch in the field, like bare grounds, encourages pests and diseases in the field and weeds. So when the ground is covered, it means that no weeds can come up. It means that no pests can come up. Quality management, poor management of the garden can cause pests and disease to multiply in the garden. When you talk of management, it's know when to plant a certain crop. There is no littering. There is just the general tidiness in the garden. It helps a lot to control pests in the farm. Creating buffer zones. Fields without buffer zones can allow the inflow of unwanted pollution like pests in the garden. So buffer zone is a screen, it's a system that you do, or you plant crops or trees to screen or to create a hedge that prevents pests to come through, and also control the wind system, or they can operate as a wind. hygiene. Lack of good hygiene in the garden allows pests to multiply, and some elements can pollute crops. Proper measurements is encouraged, recorded, and allow institutes to research on the methods used. That is, when you are using the mixture of pests, the mixture of, mixture of pesticides, local pesticide or natural pesticides. If you mix them, do not dose over mix. Mix them the right content and measure them and spray. And also record the output of the spray. Is it effective in how many days? Is it effective in 1 week or in 2 weeks? So you need to check how effective the pesticide you are using is. Soil management. Poor soil develops poor plants, and healthy plants are easily attacked by pests and diseases. So when you do not have healthy plants, they are easily attacked by pests and diseases. So it is important to build our soils. Type of compost, poorly made compost is not good for the plants. So the pests that are not poorly made, they can cause what you call diseases, and they can bring lots of diseases like fungus and viruses. And also some of the compost can bring weeds, and it is important that good compost it is important that we make good compost so that they cannot attack, they cannot bring pests and diseases in the system. Yeah, tools for permaculture pest management. As I said earlier, the biological, the chemical, and the physical. These are the major things that we can use to control pests. And also the comrade below there, the owl, it's very good in controlling pests like rodents in the field. But the basic principles of managing pests are that you use biological, chemical, and physical. And as I indicated earlier, crop rotation, so under biological, soil structures, that soil improvement, natural controls, variety of variety selection of plants in the system. That is the building biodiversity, diversity of crops in the field. Soil fertility and soil pH. This can contribute to a better result of your crops. Then chemical, it's when you are preparing, crushing the leaves and make tea to spray against a pest. So there are attractants, repellents, and botanicals. Those are important pesticides or natural pesticide that we can use. It's from different plants that they smell strongly, and then you make tea out of it. The physical is the tillage system, thermal, environmental, picking them or encouraging predators, barriers, traps, and manual control of pests in the system. In diseases, we are talking of fungal and bacterial and viral. Most disease organisms are present all the time in the soil or in the field. So we have diseases or bacteria and virus in there. But what we need is to manage them. So if we have weak plants and the conditions are favorable for them to multiply, like too much water, then the disease can multiply. So you need to make sure that you manage the soils, you manage the environment. If the environment is plants are too stressed, they do not have water, then they are easily attacked by diseases. If there is floods and you do not manage the flood, then the pests or diseases are easily attacking the crops that you have in your field. Then the primary strategy of managing disease are to keep plants strong and healthy, maintain conditions favorable to plants and unfavorable to diseases. So the plants, they can only survive if they are in a favorable environment. They have the right amount of water, the right amount of sunlight, they have the right amount of compost or nutrients, and then they can grow happily and they resist against diseases. Diseases, physiological issue about diseases, about some diseases are actually caused by nutritional or physical causes. So if a plant is weak, then diseases come. Example, tomato cracking, cat facing, blossom, and rot, often caused by inconsistent water supply levels. It unfortunately it's raining here now. So basically this is what we have. And this is causing I'm not sure whether you can hear me now, but managing weeds, it's all about compete with crop reduce yields. They are but disease or insect pest. So basically we have challenge of rain here, and so basically this is our okay. I can start here. Okay, we were talking about the weeds. Okay, and there are, so about weeds. On the negative side, weeds they compete with crops and reduce the crop yield. And may have diseases or insect pests, which means weeds can come and also keep insects or pests in the garden. Like the picture below, it's on a positive side where we have plants. This is sorghum and beans, and it's controlling the weeds. No weeds can grow there because the area is covered. So the positive side is keeps all cool by shading. So if we have some certain weeds, you manage them, but you need to know that they can help in controlling the evaporation of water. And they can keep the soil moisture by shading the ground. And also, they can be green manure, some of them. So you can cut them back and then they can be manure for the field. May support beneficial insects. Some of the weeds, like blackjack, it has a yellow flower. It attracts predators to come in the field. Some of the weeds are also good because they are food for the livestock and food for the people. So the weed control approaches, you can do manual, remove them, cut leaves, the roots in the soil for soft plant weeds like blackjack. You cut the roots, you cut the roots or the bottom of the plant, and then the roots will decompose in the soil. And that is the easy way of removing them. You can cultivate or weeding the weeds. You can do mulching and you can do straw cover. The mulching means straw cover, or can do green manure cover crop. You can do grass clippings, like you can have the cuttings from grass and cover the grass. Of course, you can use black plastic if you have to cover the weeds, they die back. In this method, you can do what you call sheet mulching, the bed for less people. You use cut boxes and compost to cover the weeds, and they die back, and they become manure. You can use newspapers, you can use carpets, and other stuff to control weeds. You can also do dense planting to control the weeds. So at the end of the day, we need to work with nature so that we do not have weeds, we do not have the insects, pests, we do not have the diseases in the field. So this guy, the owl, is very good in controlling rodents in the field. So it is important to bring nature home so that we control weeds, diseases, and pests in our gardens. If we push nature away, then we do not able to manage weeds and diseases effectively in our farms. So to have a happy garden, have plants, weeds and diseases and pests can be managed in a natural way without using chemicals or synthetic chemicals in the field. So thank you for today. Unfortunately, we had a very heavy rain and some of the recording might not be clear because of the rain that we have here in Midland. Thank you very much.